Welcome to Sanctuary Sunday. This is my second installment for this series or segments. We'll see how it goes. I talked a little bit about what I'm trying to do here, if I can figure that out. On the first installment, which was dealing with Heading Forward from Hollandspiel, and I'll put a link to that in the description, so if you want to check out Heading Forward, but also find out a little bit about what Sanctuary Sunday means, then you can find some more information there. Today, I'm continuing on with the science theme with Dominant Species Marine. This is a game designed by the late Chad Jensen, who was just put into the Charles S. Roberts Hall of Fame because, even though Chad Jensen made games like this, Dominant Species, which is kind of a continuation of this game, he also is probably more popularly known, at least in the war game world, for his war games. Most notably is his Combat Commander series. And this box is heavy because this is Combat Commander Europe. There's also Combat Commander Mediterranean, which I have in here as well. And Combat Commander Pacific. So very novel, unique, new type of take on squad level or small unit tactical combat in World War II. Some people don't like it, and then some people live by it, right? This is a very kind of a different system. It's not your father's squad leader or advanced squad leader. And it really focuses a lot on the chaos of war or combat situations. But excellent series, and possibly one of the primary reasons why Chad was just put into the Hall of Fame for the Charles S. Roberts. But he's also known for other designs as well, of which his fighting formations. And this is an expansion to fighting formations, but his fighting formations series, which I believe his wife Kai, she's going to be continuing this. Another novel, unique system. This has some interesting ways of how you deal with initiative and taking over initiative, and how much actions you take might end up giving the other side the ability to take over the initiative. Very, very interesting system. Uses different kind of dice in here, and so Chad was one of a kind when it came to that. And I used this was extended to Kharkov, and then of course the way I store my stuff, I keep all the counters in over here, and then all the other good stuff goes in here. So that's Chad on war games, right? But this isn't a war game, really. This is, although it has some feel to it. Dominant Species came out. This version was 2011. Got a little bit of dust on my stuff there. Need to get this off the shelf more. Came out this version was 2011. I don't know if this was the first or second printing, but a more of a hobby game, more into the Euro or hobby game aspect of board games. Very deep. I mean, there's some deep play here. And it's not your typical Euro game. Euro games have a tendency of having somewhat, not always, but a lot of times more simpler or simple rules or mechanisms, but then the strategy and the replayability gets deep, right? This has some somewhat deep mechanisms as well. There's a lot going on in this game. And in Dominant Species, I think my understanding is they kind of streamlined it a little bit and made it, there's a lot of the similarities between the two, but this is its own standalone game, and I think they streamlined and then, of course, themed it to the Marine, as opposed to this is, on land. And this is kind of an evolution game. You're adapting, you're taking on a species, and you're trying to dominate. Imagine that. But you're adapting to different types of terrain. You're trying to build synergies with some of the terrain. There's events that are happening that might make your species go extinct, or you might put your species in a situation where they just don't have the right resources, so they might diminish or go extinct. There's kind of a domination thing going on. There's a lot going on in this game. And there's some science behind it, as far as the evolution and dominance and similarity to, or the synergy with certain terrains and stuff like that. But let's get into the box here and see what we have here. I also want to note that this is published by GMT, and GMT was kind enough to send me this. So this was a surprise. So thank you, GMT. So looking at the back of the box here, it's a thick box. There's a lot of stuff in here. There's tokens, there's cards, there's a lot of stuff in here. It says here, which, I don't, it says the complexity is 4. I find that a little bit, there's not one mechanic that's, that's really complex, but when you add everything together and all the different choices, the complexity goes up. I tend to add in the decisions that you're faced with into the complexity as well, because to me, if a game is subject to analysis paralysis, where someone just needs to chew on their decisions for a long time, that adds to the complexity, because there's just so much. There's deep thinking. You need to go into deep think to get to your resolution. Solitaire is low. This is a multiplayer game. The sad thing about this for me is I like Dominant Species. I like Dominant Species a lot, so I think I'm going to like this a lot. But I'm a war gamer at heart, so I like some crunchier stuff and not shy to dive into some deeper concepts. But my family didn't like it. They liked some of it, but it kind of outstayed its welcome. That was one of the hangups of the original Dominant Species. It stayed on the table a little bit longer than maybe people wanted it to. I think this is streamlined a little bit, so maybe that might help out. Might help how my family reacts to it. And we were playing with the original had 2 to 6 players could play in it, and I have a family of 5, so all 5 of us were playing it. And man, that really bogged it down. The more players, really, this kind of grinds a little bit, because there's so much going on your turn that, or can be that there's some lag that goes on there. So with the lower player count, of course, I got to kick one of my kids out of the house, but with the lower player count, maybe that time will go down a little bit as well. But we'll see. So you're going to get a game board in here. There's a lot of cards. As you see, there's this whole action track. A lot of this is you're selecting different actions, and these actions are kind of variable, because there's resources that start off here and then they'll drop down, and they might be available down here. And so your selection of different actions or different areas changes during the course of the game. And then there's some more choice areas that you can pick, and then less ones. And there's a lot of decisions in this game. As far as decision space, this has it. There's a lot of stuff of what you need to do on that. There's a lot of variability in the different species and the different traits and stuff that come up, and you're kind of adapting your creatures. Your species, I should say, and adding and becoming a little bit. And it's asymmetrical, and you make it even more asymmetrical as the game goes on. So with that, let's get inside the box here and see what we have. So this, in my opinion, clearly fits into my science playlist, and fits into my, my new feature, Sanctuary Sunday, because it's really not a war. There's some war game aspects. There is some conflict in it. There's some kind of area control, but it's not really a war game. Man, that box was thick, but it's hard to get off. But this was a thick box, good sturdy box there. You get your rules of play, which are, that's nice. I like where you have they use the back page for a player reference. You got events, end game here. So the rules are 21 pages. Some of this is you're explaining the different some of the different trait cards here at the end. So the last few pages, like 3 pages, are talking about the cards, because the cards are different, so that they might tell you a little bit about how to play that. So it's kind of a FAQ for that. So really about 17 pages it looks like the rules here. So you got domination, you got evolution, you got competition, migration. These are all the different actions that you pick, you know, during the game, and what they do during the game, and how they interact with the board, you know, and the board state, and changing the board state. So you see, you got a lot of science here. You know, the evolution, you got migration, you got tectonics. There's a lot of thematic science in this. Wanderlust, speciation, regression, adaptation, depletion, autotropes, abundance, retrieve. And so that's your player turn. So those are more detailed descriptions of each of the different actions you can take. Here's a player's turn. Here's sequence of play. Your species. Survival card. There's some events that might happen that, you know, like I can't remember, like in the original game, it might have been like an asteroid or something that, or a volcano. I mean, that might, you know, wipe out some of your species, some cataclysmic events. Here's the elements. So these are kind of the resources that you're trying to collect or have your species adapt to, so that you can you can thrive and also get dominance in certain areas. And here's the setup of the game board. And so you're going to have different, you know, species, and they're asymmetrical. They'll have not only the different resources that they you know, need, but you can add to that over time, but they'll also have different abilities. They'll have a different asymmetrical way of how they go about the game. Markers and tiles, cards, boards and bags, and there you have it. So there's your rules of play there. And, you know, if Kai had anything to do with this, you know, it's going to read well. Here's some stickers to put on something. Maybe that goes on the, you got some spares, so maybe that goes on some round wooden blocks that we might need, maybe. What do we got here? Here are your different species that you can play. So this is interesting. So you might get the standard, what their starting resources, or you might, it sounds like there might be an option to kind of randomize it and have it be even a little bit different. So you got your crustaceans. Those are the resources they start off having kind of an affinity to, and then they're going to have a special ability. So like maybe, I don't know, it'll be buried. I think it's going to be buried in what section it has. I think that's, if I remember correctly, I think that's how it was. So it doesn't just stick out at the top or something. You guys like, oh, so like they do something different for, you know, migration or competition or something like that. I think that's how it works out. Anyway, so that's crustaceans, fishes. This is marine, reptile, cephalopods. So there are your different species that you can play in this game. Here are a lot of punch boards there. Look at that, and it's going to be typical, you know, GMT style and quality. I mean, these are pre-rounded, and so these are like your resource tokens there, and the different flavors, and they're double-sided. Then you've got your terrain tiles, or the different areas you're going to be going into: open ocean, land, coral reef. And I believe, God, it's been a while since I played this. This might be like the point total you get for like domination or something. I can't remember what those numbers are. I think that might be it, because there is somewhat of an area control aspect to this game as well. So these are your Wanderlust tiles, so they'll be down face down, and you'll draw. Like when you take the Wanderlust action, you'll draw, and then you place that out. So you're kind of building the board. There's a little bit of an exploration aspect to this game. These hypothermal events are something you got to try to build close to, and they have like special actions or special rules that go along with them. So you get several of these. These are hexagon, and then they go into the onto the board, which is a mounted board. Let's get the board. We'll take a look at that in a second. Oh, we got all the your big round markers. Ooh, got a lot there. Then you got your little cubes. This is a cube pusher of sorts. different colors there. Those are dealing with the, oh, sorry about that. I think I just had a cataclysmic event. Got your cards. You got some bags here. Look at that. Got a nice red, nice black. There you go. And then let's get into these cards here and see what we have. If any of you have played Dominant Species, or this has been out for a while now, so have played this, love to know your thoughts on any of this stuff. Do you like it? Are you somewhat in awe and marvel of Chad Jensen's versatility and how he can kind of go from some of these? He always comes up with something different and unique in everything he did. So these are the cards, you know, typical GMT quality. You know, there's no linen on it. It's a slick finish, decent thickness. But you got all these different cards. I mean, there's neat graphics on this. I gotta say the production is appealing and tells you what happens when you get, like, you gain 1 VP for every tile that you occupy with that. Tectonic shift. These mean I think this, I don't know if this means like for whether you're going to reduce or increase in an area for abundance. I have to, it's been a while since I played the original. I think these might be a little bit different in this game, possibly. Or maybe they represent something different in this game. There we go, looks like a Finding Nemo. But you know, this is biodiversity, mass exodus. I mean, there's all kinds, solar radiation. There's all kinds of, you know, thematic science in this game. Cannibal. That's cool. So if you have that trait, when one of your species is eliminated, you gain a victory point. Well, because you got hungry. These are different traits possibly that go on. There, that trait card. Then you've got, this is a survival event, and the pawn action cards. So that's interesting. There's your cards to the game. This bag is sealed for your enjoyment. Let's see here. Get that out there. I might have to pull the camera out a little bit more so you can see what all is in here. But a good thick mounted map there. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. See if we can see what this, ooh, look at that. Multifold map. Ooh. And it's nice. Nice map. Ooh, if I can get it on the board in enough fashion there. Okay, so let's go out a little bit here, see what we got with this map. There we go. And this will eventually lay down a little bit of puffiness, but nothing that you can't cure here. So you've got your food chain here, and that's going to like determine turn order on where you're at on this. I mean, and if there's like ties or something, this is how the food chain works, right? The reptiles on top. And your tile scoring, and as you can see here, there's like I think those are the points you get for that. So this is kind of an area control situation there. Bonus points table down here. Can't really see that. You've got a victory point track all the way around the sides to keep track of that. Here's where you put your Wanderlust tiles that you'll be drawing from, and then that I think actually, I got to think back, but that might be where one of the in-game situations. It might be drawing the survival card or some kind of event, or getting out of Wanderlust tiles. You also have vent tiles up there that you draw from to put on different areas. This is how the board starts out at. And this is really the heart of the game, is these different actions that you're going to take, from abundance all the way down to retrieve, and where you put it on it and what happens. And, you know, so this is the game right here. I mean, there's a lot there. The cards augment it, and the cards are important and you know, do a lot of stuff, but the heart of the game is this action area here, and how it changes over time, and how the players interact with the action track, and how that translates over to the game board. This is how you do stuff on the game board, is through this. So anyway, that is what you get in a big, thick box of Dominant Species Marine, compliments of GMT Games. Want to thank them again for that. Not sure what these are for. I don't know if maybe these go on some of these tokens, and then we keep track of it over here. So, I gotta read the rules on that. The rule book, there, I'll have to read that. And there you have it. That is Dominant Species Marine from the Charles S. Roberts Hall of Famer Chad Jensen, and a continuation of his previous design of Dominant Species, which is, is a dominant game. It really is. And so it'd be interesting to see how this game is received over time, because my understanding again is that they tightened up a few things, or maybe changed a few things, but I mean, there's still a lot going on. I mean, this looks very similar to the original game in a lot of respects, and it should, because it plays like the original game, but it's got a different theme, it's got less players, and I think it's got some tightened up mechanics in the mix there. So anyway, love to know your thoughts on any of this stuff, on Dominant Species Marine, on Dominant Species, on any of Chad Jensen's designs, anything you want to talk about. You want to talk about, it's Sanctuary Sunday. So this is a free space. You can talk about whatever you want on Sanctuary Sunday. So anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're having a good one. I hope you're doing what you do on Sundays, whether that's meditation, or going, religion, or family time, or reading the Sunday paper, or Sunday funnies, or whatever you do, or playing a game. Maybe you're playing Dominant Species. Wouldn't that be a quinkadink? Anyway, thanks again so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate you. If you got a comment, drop it. Let me know what you think. And again, free space, Sanctuary. Take care. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.